Welcome to our Meet the Experts film costume design panel. Today, we're joined by Jacqueline West from Killers of the Flower Moon, Mark Bridges from Maestro, Janty Yates and David Crossman from Napoleon, Mirojnick from Oppenheimer, and Sophie Canale from Saltburn. Thank you all for being here. I want to start by going back to the beginnings of your careers. What was your first job in costuming and what did you learn from it? Jacqueline?
My first job was Henry and June with Phil Kaufman, and I was in Paris at the Pret-a-Porter showing my fashion collection, and got a call from my store that Phil was in Paris and shooting Henry and June and wanted to meet with me because he said he felt he needed me on that movie. And so that night I met with him and his wife at a restaurant called Bauta near the opera, and she kept saying, "Ask her, Phil, ask her." And he said, "Would you come and work on this movie with me?" And I said, "Well, I've never done that." And he said, "Well, you can." He said, "And I think you'd be really good." But I wasn't, I'd never done anything like that. And so it was definitely a learning curve. I learned so much, but he gave me, millions of French francs and a driver. And I went around and started shopping at the Marché Malik and at Clignancourt. And then he said, "Will you do her house in Louvciennes?" And he said, "I want it to look like your house in Berkeley." She was eclectic. She shopped at the flea markets like you do. And he said, "And you've met Anna Eastman." He said, "You've read everything she's ever written. I feel you know her better than anybody I have here. So come work with me." And
You believed in you so much. So, Ellen, how about you?
I first started as a fashion designer, and at the point of about 8 years in, my husband was working on a film in New Orleans, and it was a period film. It was called The French Quarter, and I went to visit. I was kind of bored doing fashion, and they didn't have a costume designer, and they asked if I would do it. I also had never done anything before. It took place in, I think it was 1912, and it was a low budget film. It starred a number of people from the golden age of Hollywood. It was a bit racy. It took place in the House of Prostitution and in the French Quarter. And it was the biggest challenge of my life. And I had to figure out, where is everything going to come from? Coming from fashion, it was very easy for me to have things made and quickly and so on. But I needed to have a whole stock of clothes. And there was a company in New York called Brooks Van Horn at that time. And I was given a reference, and they were quite helpful. And I came back to New Orleans with a ton of stuff and learned what movie making was about. I was the wardrobe person. And that was a bit of a problem because I didn't sew too well. And I didn't really know anything, but I jumped in the water all in, and it was the beginning of costume design.
How are you at sewing now?
Terrible.
Still.
No one ever asks me
some
to
things,
sew.
Some things just don't change. It's okay.
They don't change. They really don't change.
David, how about you?
I left school in a kind of fit of boredom, and I went to work in a costume house. It was a famous costume house at the time called Berman's and Nathan's. So I learned my kind of trade there. And when I left there, eventually, the first film I did was Saving Private Ryan, because I'd met Joanna Johnston whilst working there. So she had landed this big project at the time, and so got to do that. That's one of my first full films.
One of my favorite films. So, Janty, how about you?
Well, the first feature I did was Jean-Jacques Annaud's Quest for Fire. And that was as a complete junior. We'd spent 6 months destroying, I hate to say this, fur, Hudson Bay, thank you so much. Jean-Jacques wanted all these pristine furs, totally uncured, to look uncured. So me and 6 Wimbledon art students just had the best fun destroying and chamfering the edges and throwing on latex for, you know, our, not albumin, that's eggs, but, you know, for that sort of disgusting finish. And then the first real HOD job I ever got was a small English film with a budget of £6,000, which is about, I suppose, $8,000 and 8,000 euros, I'm not sure. And I did it. Charity shops or op shops. No, what do you call them in America? But, you know, we did it. We did it. And I came in with not a profit, but came in under budget, amazingly.
People always like that, so.
Exactly.
Mark, how about you?
You know, it's always hard to answer this question because I worked sort of as an assistant costume designer for a while for a designer named Richard Hornung, and at the same time I was doing my own small straight to video projects. So, but I suppose my first film of any note would have been Paul Thomas Anderson's first film, Hard 8, and we had a very small budget too. We had like $10,000, and there was me and one other person, and we hired somebody in Reno where we were going to shoot. It's a miracle I even got that job, because I had met with Paul. We decided this was great, but he wanted to see some of my work, and I had done a small film for Chanticleer Films. I thought I knew where it was screening. I took him there to the DGA, and it was completely black. And so I had screwed up. This was in 1995, so you couldn't look at your phone and double check the email, you know. And he said, maybe it's at the Writers Guild. So we hopped in the car, went to the Writers Guild. It was in fact showing there, and we walked right in when it was coming on. And I got hired for the job because he liked what I had done with outerwear, and we were going to be shooting in Reno at night in January. So I got that job just by sheer luck and Paul's fast thinking, actually. So I would think it was that, and then we've gone on to do 9 other films together.
Mm-hmm. Now, who cares if you gave them the wrong address? So.
Well, if you lost the piece of paper back in those days, you were.
I know, you're screwed. You can't. Yeah. Sophie.
So I did a degree in costume for screen and stage when I was 18. So that was the direction I really wanted to go in. And I then moved to London. I had an opportunity to, you know, I was sleeping on people's sofas, and I went and worked on a Sally Potter film, Rage. And, you know, it was a, you know, work experience, and, you know, every day a different actor was coming in. It was Dame Judi Dench, it was Eddie Izzard, it was Jude Law, it was Lily Cole. And I was like, what am I working? You know, it was a great opportunity. And then I went on to work with, you know, throughout the costume industry, in the department, from a trainee to assistant to breakdown artist, coordinator, you know, trying all different roles. And yeah, I've been very fortunate to assist both Janty and Ellen as assistant designer, in Janty in Cape Town and Ellen on Bridgerton. So yeah, so I've had a very fortunate journey and worked with some amazing costume designers. And yeah, this is my first film. So yeah, it's nice to hear all your stories, because I'm very excited to be in such amazing company.
And you knocked it out of the park, so it's.
Thank you.
Well, color schemes, you know, kind of, I mean, they depend on the story and the character, of course, but what are some of your favorite colors to work with? Ellen?
Well, I kind of run the gamut. Because I love color. I absolutely love color, but I love contrast, black and white as well. And so it really depends on the project. I've been fortunate to be able to use the full spectrum of color. And I really, really, I think that it really depends on the project that I'm working on. In my life, I only wear black, but I love color. And there's color in my house. There's color when I paint. There's color in everything I'm attracted to. However, I'm restrained in working in film. And but I am a huge fan of black and white.
Black is just so easy to wear and you don't really need to think about it. So
True. But I love in working with black and white and working with the contrast, the yin and yang and the silhouette is something that I just adore it.
yeah, it's very striking, especially on film when you see it. Jacqueline?
Well, it always depends for me on the director I'm working with. I too wear a lot of black, and I'm obsessed by black and white photography.
We have a lot of black here, just everybody right now.
Black and white photography, black and white films, all of that is, fabulous for me. But I've worked with Terrence Malick a lot, and Terry doesn't like color. He doesn't like anything that distracts from the glow of the face. So all of the clothes have to be dark and the face has to shine. And then Chivo, who shoots most of his movies, hates white. And if I use any, even off-white, it's Jackie, you're killing me. You're killing me. No, white is the enemy of the movie. So I don't even get to use black and white contrast on those films. Then I've done a lot of, movies involving Native Americans, and those are all natural colors. I mean, The Revenant was all fur, so you're limited, to the colors that animals come in. And so I also
you have to use those now.
I also paint. I use a lot of color in my paintings and a lot of contrast, but I don't really have favorite colors. I'm like Henry Ford. I like any color as long as it's black.
Janty?
I love gold.
Mhm.
I just love it. And I've had the opportunity to absolutely throw it at every female costume that I've done with Ridley over the last 10 or 15 years. Embroidery, gold bullion, glorious, absolutely glorious, and for men as well, in actual fact. I also love rich, dark, deep jewel colors, deep burgundy velvets, deep green, gorgeous electric blues in those sort of tones in a velvety fabric. I'm mad about those, but I go where the film takes me, and it could be easily black and white, or all black, or all white. I'm led like a will-o'-the-wisp in the wind.
Yeah.
So we all
yeah, I think definitely it's in my small experience it's what the director really loves and their tones, and at the moment I'm working on a project that I've never used so much lilac in my life, and I've even started buying lilac myself, which I never thought I would. So it's definitely a direction that how working with DOPs and directors and what they want, and how that works with the characters. But I think colors really importantly tonally to create a mood in a scene as well. So, and I think that's really key and important to be able to branch out with bright colors for emotion and then pull back for darker scenes. So yeah, I think it lends to the mood of where you're going.
David?
As everybody says, it's the context of what you're doing. On a couple of the Star Wars films, we used a lot of whites and yellows and reds, which was, a nice thing to do. But really, khaki's always been quite good for me.
Mark, how about you?
It's great to have fun with color. I usually have some kind of a plan, whether it's a film that takes place in a lot of different locations. I'll try to do palettes for each place so that it kind of helps you understand the story. I find myself using green a lot as a neutral. Or really to say things. I think I'd pick colors a lot for emotional reasons of what's going on in the scene, or just to have fun. We were in a fabric store in Italy looking for fabric for a very rich woman in Phantom Thread, and I found this incredible green taffeta, and I thought, well, green for money bags, and it worked out perfectly. So things like that, you want to have a little fun with it. But you're not working in a vacuum. You're working with a director and a DP, and certainly a complexion of an actress as well. So there are a lot of things that go into it, but I like to have fun when I can.
Yeah, green as a neutral. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, because they're like money color, like green.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Gray
a great
green,
neutral.
they can kind of go away in a weird,
There's
strange
the dark green, yeah.
but even like gray greens and
Gray
things.
green is a
Yeah.
great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, calming.
Mhm.
I just
Oh, go
had
ahead.
a black and white experience that I have to share with all of you.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
infrared photography. Everything was supposed to be black on a project, and infrared picks up a lot of black as white. But you don't know it until you put it in front of the camera. So you have to test everything ahead of time, because I costumed a whole scene in black and half of it was white, and I had to go back and remake it. So be careful.
This is a PSA for all costume designers, aspiring costume designers. Infrared, beware. Well, unfortunately, we have to wrap, but it was so great speaking with all of you. Congratulations on all of your projects, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Lovely to see you all.
Bye.
Bye.